What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the DGD Podcast. As always, Robert Reynolds got a special guest tonight, and boy, oh boy, what a guest. You know him, Davin Bellamy. What is going on, Davin?
What's up, man? How y'all boys doing, man?
Doing well, and got Scott over here as well, Mr. Green. Guys, we've got, listen, it's the bye week, but there is way too much to talk about because we've got a whole body of work.
We do
7 games worth. We're going to talk about it. As real as it gets, the good, the bad, the ugly, we're here to talk about it. And what better way to do it than with a former Dog himself that's played under Kirby Smart. Whether you like what you see or whether you don't like what you see, we're about to break it down for you. First things first, though, the show is brought to you by our friends over at Bark Performance. Guys, stay hydrated on game day, right? We drink them potent potables. Nonetheless, stay hydrated. Go to barkperformance.com. Use code DGD Podcast 10 to get 10% off your first order. Support those who support us, all right? And they also support Georgia athletics too. So make sure, even more incentive to support Bark Performance. Shout out to those guys over there at Bark Performance, by the way. Davin, it's time to talk about this. Listen, recently we've been having to kind of have harp sessions on some defensive situations, but we're not going to do that first. All right. Been watching the team meeting. That's your show where you break down the film from Georgia games, right? If you're not familiar with that, I highly suggest you go watch that on YouTube. Please do yourself a favor. But you are extremely bullish on this offense, and I think I know why. What are you seeing through 7 games about this offense that's really just got you so high on it?
Bro, front 7 is what brings you home, man. Like, all the flashy numbers, all the flashy, play calling, teams that love to throw the ball, 30 times a game. That's all cute. But just like in the NFL and college football, the running game in that front 7 is going to bring you home. And we saw against Tennessee, and then we saw last week the Dawgs' ability to ice games in the fourth quarter with the running game is something that shouldn't be taken lightly. Do you know how easy it is for an offensive coordinator in the fourth quarter to just call inside zone 13 times in a row and just watch his O-line maul and bully people to sleep? Imagine that now. Playoff ball is in December when it's cold outside. That's why they say physicality is playoff football when it's cold outside and people don't want to take hits. You already don't want to take hits now. Wait till they get cold outside. So I just think when I'm watching the tape, these guys are talented. We played a Notre Dame team that had Quentin Nelson and Mike McGlinchey, 2 first-rounders. They won the best O-lineman award, but they just didn't have this attitude this Dog team has. When you watch this tape, man, you got guys running downfield, finishing with the running back, dumping people, leaning on them before they get up, like sliding the gut on them before they get up. I mean, it's some good football, man. It's some good football.
I definitely agree with you on the offensive line. Scott, we've had these conversations ad nauseum at this point. What surprises me the most, Davin, is really the true freshman impact players along that offensive line. When you look at Weingaston and Donnie Glover specifically, I'm seeing 2 first-round picks. Maybe not Glover just because of the guard position. However, he's definitely playing for caliber of a first round in my
first
opinion.
3 rounds for sure.
100 easily a top 90 pick. A top 90 pick. I'd say closer to top 60
for sure.
If you wanted to push that, I would listen on that.
Right.
But at the same time, right, like we had these issues last season, and I hate comparing seasons because everything changes, right? Not everything, but most things change.
Right.
But the to me, the physicality has been a 180-degree turn. It's one of these things where you're moving people that you weren't moving last season.
Mm-hmm.
You open up lanes
Violently.
Yeah.
Like that's what I don't think people are understanding. Like when I'm looking at it, say you have position blockers of people that just get in the way, do their job, turn their butt to a certain way, seal out.
Yeah.
Dude, these guys are nasty, right? And when speaking from experience as the defensive player, when you got that offensive tackle that is constantly trying to drive you to the ground when the whistle stops, that is so annoying, right? And they're getting the job done, bro. Like, so, to your point, fuck yeah, they're blocking crazy, but they're doing it violently. Like, they are bullying people. Like, no jokes aside, they're literally bullying. They're breaking the will of the other team's D-line / linebackers. And when our running backs get to the second level, they finish very violently. The reason why I say that on the team means because I used to hear Coach Smart say that all the time. And when you get to the NFL, so I played for Bill O'Brien, right? He hated wide receivers running out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? You always want to fall forward because the inches matter. So you tie that in with the O-line, then you got our running backs just finishing violently, bro. That is a recipe to where the defense just catch up 30%, 40% to play to the physicality of the offense, bro. This team could compete this year, even though they're young.
And here's the crazy thing too, something that I've been kind of tracking since, it's been a revolving door just due to injury. Green played, I don't know how, with his back seized up against Tennessee. And then you see those young guys and four different dudes, even after Green started rotating. This is the second game out of seven we've seen the same starting five walk out there. But to me, this is room deep too. So this whole mentality
Oh,
is
yeah, for
trickled
sure.
down.
For sure.
And that's what's super impressive to me,
For sure.
Davin. Is like, look, again, you want your best five out there, but really, Georgia's kind of in a bad luck situation turned good luck. Like my five's now six, maybe seven. And sure, they miss an assignment, but like you said, they're gonna Mike Tyson you for 60 minutes.
Nah, for sure. They've learned from their mistakes. So like, if I could go back and watch every team meeting, I remember thinking about when I was looking at Tennessee game, very first drive, Gunner was on so much pressure. Juan Gaskin, he struggled with the up and under move, right? Then I've look at the last game. The pockets are unbelievable now. So these guys are not just only they're young, and we used to use that excuse last year was there's so many injuries, on the O-line. The O-line is flip-flopping. Well, they're flip-flopping this year. So you can't use that excuse that we used last year, and they're flip-flopping, doing the job well and getting better week in and week out. What I noticed also, too, is when you just recruit mammoths, like everybody's like 6'6" and up, they can interchange positions. Mm-hmm. Some teams like to say, I want my center 6'4", I want my guards 6'5", I want my tackles 6'7" and up. Georgia just go 6'6" and up across the board, which means that they get guys that their body types are just matching,
they're
everywhere. Yeah. They're interchangeable, and that's what is so talented about these young guys that they're doing it in their freshmen. That's why I say there's a lot of first rounders on there. There's a lot of first rounders.
I look at and looking at recruiting, right, and looking at the rooms in the past cycles of these recruiting classes, especially on the offensive line. You had Sam Pittman, which I think arguably could be one of Georgia's best offensive line coaches.
No question.
And then you go to Matt Luke, which the whole recruiting body of work changed because of what he's looking for. More agile type, like smaller guys, right? For a lot of pulling, right?
Right.
Now you get back to Stacey Searles, right? You push. I don't want to make it sound bad, but it is what it is. You push out the classes of the Matt Luke classes, and now you've got Stacey Searles classes, and then you start to see, I mean, mammoths, like you said, that you're cutting them down to weight, right? I think if you, like, for instance, Nair Daniels hasn't really played much, but he was 370, 380. Calhoun, 370.
Where do these guys come? Where did the O-line coach come from?
Stacey Searles came from North Carolina
He was at
before he
North
came to us.
Carolina before he came to us, but he's got an
Okay.
old track record, LSU, Georgia.
Okay.
He's been in the Southeastern
Yeah.
Conference for before.
Wow. Yeah.
But listening to this and just kind of being involved in the college football world, you start to listen to opposing fan bases, what they got to say about these coaches when you bring them on, right? I think that's across the board anywhere. And you hear and they show you statistics, right? Like North Carolina had like 80 sacks in 2 years. Like they gave up 80 sacks in 2 years. So you have to take that with a grain of salt, right? It could be true. I mean, we've seen that where we've had people go and, hey, this is what you're going to get.
Right.
This is what's going to happen. And then it happens. So we always take it with a grain of salt. But then you start to realize he's recruiting better. You've got better players and personnel. And we get to a point where last year, I think people were hit a tipping point in all seriousness. Just the offensive line did not look great. It didn't
look physically opposing either. It didn't look physically opposing.
Neither side of the ball did.
One thing, especially, when I was in school, Georgia front seven got to look good getting off the bus.
Yes. I can agree with that.
That is when you go to a high school game and they say that player got an offer from Georgia, it should look like it. He's a certain hog.
You remember that viral video, Davin? That viral video of Jaheim Otis in high school walking out with his teammates, and you just see all these kids, and then you see Jaheim, and it's just like,
exactly. That is
a perfect embodiment of what you're saying.
Exactly. Georgia front seven is supposed to look good getting off the bus. Period.
Absolutely. I think the thing too is just how quick the turnaround's been. Like last year, one of the worst rushing offenses we've seen just in Georgia, Mark Richt, Kirby Smart era included, in like the last 20 years. And then you flip it to this year where, like you said, not only are you able to drag team in deep waters just through physicality, you're able to do it in a way that they know it's coming and they just can't stop it.
I can't stop it. They know it's coming. And then look, this is what I tell people all the time too. I compare this team to a lot of people on this show want to understand what I'm saying. The running game is doing amazing. Also, you got running back by committee, a great, O-line. But then you got a quarterback that is also a threat. It reminds me of DVD, Vic Duckett. Like personally, my kryptonite was playing mobile quarterbacks. Every defensive coordinator, every defensive lineman loves a statue. We know he's going to be on that spot. Just rush to that spot, and you're going to get him down. When you start talking about a guy that can just move the sticks on third and medium, it puts the defensive end, personally, like in a precarious situation. Do I speed rush? Because if I speed rush and get too high, he's going to run for the first down. Well, do I go speed to power and try to spy him? Then he may kill me from the pocket. And as a defensive, playing defense, you always want your defensive players to act, then react. You want your defense to play with their hair on fire. You want your defense, you want to tell your defensive players to slow down rather than speed up. When you play a mobile quarterback, when you get in that 3rd and 5 range, that defensive end doesn't know, do I speed up or do I slow down? And now you've taken away 50% of a defense just by the threat of the quarterback sticking out of the back door. So you add that in with when they run the read option. Well, maybe that read option is working so well when Gunner decides to hand it off because that will linebacker has to stay put just in case Gunner pulls it.
Slight hesitation.
It's a game of inches. And in the SEC, if we even, we leaving with any ball carrier. So that's also what you're seeing. And, I'm 30 years old, so, I grew up on Vic Duckett. And that was the number 1 rushing team in the NFL that year with TJ Duckett, Warwick Dunn, and Michael Vick. Well, you already got lightning and thunder with Vick, with Dunn and Duckett, and then always that defensive player, even that safety. He can't come down in the box and trigger so hard on a handoff because he got to stay back a little bit for the quarterback. So just with Gunner adding that wrinkle with everything else, it's making this offense very hard to stop, especially late.
You know, also we talked about it earlier, but like the team itself has this toughness to it that we didn't see last year. And perfect example, Davin, I want to see if you remember this. Auburn game, Monroe Freeling legitimately playing on one leg.
No, for sure.
And blocking Keldrick Falk at that.
No,
I thought that
sure.
was,
for sure.
To me, I look at that as that was a performance that I guarantee you NFL scouts looked at and like he just made himself millions.
They love it.
Made himself a few million right there. And the fact that he was holding up for what it's worth, I think that tells me too. I think you've got massive guys that are playing with a toughness that we didn't see last year. And really, when you look at the whole offense, right, and really the team, but we're still on the offense, that it's like an embodiment of Gunnar Stockton, right? Before the season, we had our hesitancies, right? We had our hesitancies.
For sure.
We didn't know what we were getting 100%, right? But each week, and I watch each game at least 2 times, if not more, right? Get one emotion watch, one analytical watch, and then whatever happens after that happens. But you can really watch this whole team, especially on the offense, grow each week.
Especially on the offense, for sure. No doubt.
And I think it starts with, to me, it starts with Gunnar there, and I'll tell you why.
It does.
Right? For the first few games, you sit there, we're checking down, we're doing this right here. It doesn't feel that great. You go to Tennessee on the road and you pull that win out. But people are still having criticism simply because he's not seeing down the field. Keep in mind, that's not an easy test. I mean, you can attest to playing in Neyland. It ain't easy.
It's tough.
But, I think a lot of fans, man, really got critical of it. And really Bobo, too. For some reason, the play calls were there. And then that Tennessee game, I think people started getting down Gunnar's back. But then as the week started going on, the things that you see what he's missing, he's starting to look at it now.
No,
right? He's starting to look at things. So, right, it was one situation where we see a lot of check downs. To me, was he playing on time or was he speeding up? I think he was playing on time. He just didn't trust it. Now he's trusting it. He's playing more on time, but things are opening up. Because he's on time, it's opening up after. I think everybody, there was a viral clip, Davin, of Oscar Delp just streaking down the seam. But if you watch Gunnar the whole way through, he's playing on time and he's already out of that part of the progression because he's playing on time.
Right.
And so you've got to play within the system. You can't you can't win. You can't win consistently or with the expectation of winning consistently playing backyard football at the quarterback position. That's just my take on that.
No, and I definitely agree, especially when you already have a team that just needs you to be Bruce Wayne 90% of the time. Like the way Georgia built this team, they built this team with a great running game, physical O-line, so we can always play the way we play. One thing I noticed about this offense is we stay ahead of the sticks. It's rare that these guys are in 3rd and 8+. These guys are always in 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4s, where, like I say, it puts the defense in that dilemma. Is he going to scramble? Is he going to pass it? Are they going to run it? Or are they going to pass it? So Gunnar never needs to be Batman. But one thing I noticed about him, when it's time to be that, he can do that. But I don't want him playing off schedule all the time. Like I always say in a team meeting, and I learned this from Coach Smart. Not Coach Smart, Coach Rick, I'm sorry. Because I was there with Aaron Murray, also. And Coach Rick was the offensive coordinator for Florida State when I think Winky won the Heisman. And I remember we were sitting in the team meeting and he just told Aaron Murray, you will lead the SEC in receive in passing yardage if you just take the check downs. And he said he told the same thing to Winky and he won the Heisman. So when I look at Gunnar, I just want him to take what the defense give him. And when it's time to put the cape on, then you go put the cape on. But kind of like you say, he's playing on time. He knows that he has a physical O-line. And if he could just keep it close to the 4th quarter, like Greg Williams always says, we will compete with a physicality that the opponent cannot match. And Gunnar knows if I do anything crazy and get this game out of hand, that's on me. But if I just keep it cool, take what the defense give me, about a fourth quarter, we'll be able to punish him.
And we've capitalized that on,
and we've capitalized
every
on
game.
it. Yeah, because the first 3 quarters, bro, like he never like. It's something about watching him that I really like because a lot of the athletes can't do this, and it's not. It's hard to explain, but when you watching a game, you can tell when he's in that mode. It's very hard to explain. Like, and most players can't go to that mode. So when I see it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? And it's been some games you can just watch. Like that Tennessee game, it feels like when he gets in that mode, it's like a basketball player and the rim is huge. When Gunner gets in that mode, I look at the Tennessee games, throwing the ball while he's getting demolished. The 4th and 6. And why is 4th and 6 your most perfect ball? Why?
You couldn't ask for a better pass on that, by the way. The layering of that football was brilliant.
Why is that? Why is your best ball on 4th and 6? That means that player has something that's between God and his mama.
Would it be like a gamer gene?
That's what I'm saying.
It's got to be a gamer switch or something.
You got quarterbacks who would throw that out of bounds or throw that too close to the defender. Why is your perfect ball? Why is your perfect ball on 4th and 6? Why are you scrambling and getting every first down on 3rd downs in the 4th quarter? Like something that snaps in him where it's just like, and the reason why I call him bad, like everybody love to call him Superman. Like Cam Newton was Superman. Like when you get off the bus and you 6'6" with broad shoulders, like that's Superman. Like everyone knew who Superman was. Right? You didn't know Bruce was Batman. Like when he get on the bus, he's a chill guy. I drive a Ford. I got a couple cows. You feel me? I'm not really flashy. I don't really use social media. And then when the 4th quarter comes, he bust your ass.
I mean, the best part. Listen, the best part about it too, Davin, was this: the best moment, the best Gunner Stockton moment for me this whole season, and really the whole time he's been at Georgia, on Cam's jersey retirement night, doing the Superman to score that. I don't think people realize just in the heat of the moment the layers behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, that's cold. That's cold."
He got it. He has it. Whatever it is, he had it.
The team knows it. The team knows it.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite. Man, he's since I left, he's probably my favorite quarterback. He has it.
Well, I sat there and I guess now that you're looking at that, right? Like each quarterback had their own thing, right? Like you played with Fromm, right? That freshman year. Notre Dame game. I always look at that game because that was really his game.
For sure.
He got better as but something about Gunner though's different, and it's I don't know if it's the embodiment of Georgia football within him, but my God, the whole fucking team. You look at the defense, right? We've had our struggles, but for some reason, it's like the whole team builds that cohesion around the nucleus called Gunner Stockton, and it just builds that bond. And it's a never die team, and literally we saw that.
Dude, his demeanor, dude. Like you see his interviews. He's never high. He's never low. In the game, he's never really celebrating too much. If he get hit hard, he bounce right back up. It's
hard to do.
So this dude is so even keel. He has. I'm gonna steal it from Mike Tomlin. He got the nerves of a serial killer. Like he just don't show no emotion. So when you see the team get down, and we come out the second half. Well, that's because it's like when you flying on a plane and it's a lot of turbulence and they tell you to look at the flight attendants. If the flight attendants not panicking, then you should chill out. You good. Well, you got to look at, okay, Georgia's starting slow, but you got a quarterback that got the nerves of a serial killer. So you mean to tell me they looking at him, he's so chill. The second half, they coming out, of course they're going to be able to respond because their captain is acting like it's 0-0. And he's
The
already
whole
shown
game. The
the
whole
whole
game.
game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if he's balling, if he's not. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I also noticed about him is he's going to win the game wherever, how it needed to be. I started calling him Batman after, I think, was it week 1 when the passing game looked terrible and he was checking down? But you know what looked so promising? Didn't he have like 2-3 rushing touchdowns?
Yeah. It was
Against
he had
Marshall,
4
he sure did.
total. He had 4 total. He had 2 rushing, 2 passing. I think
Right.
he scored the first 2 rushing and then
And
threw 2.
everybody complained about how the passing game looked. But when you really dive into it, it's like, wait, the passing game wasn't working. He put the team on his back and went and got 14 points by himself. Like, let's not forget, like, he got 14 points by himself when the
on the
passing
ground
game
with the
wasn't
ball in
going.
his hand.
On the
Yeah.
ground with the ball, you can bank 14 points was on him. If he's out of the game, 14 points that's on the board. So when I started looking at that, I was like, okay, the passing game can get better, but that guy he know that, okay, how do I win this game? And then when I saw the Tennessee game, I was like, damn, the ball only hit the ground 7 times.
Yeah, sees man coverage, kills it on man coverage, taking deep shots for the first time in the year.
What? Then I'm looking at last week, like, damn, the ball only hit the ground 6-7 times again. Now it leads me to the point to say, just off data alone, like you said, we 7 games in. If I open up my mouth and say he can't do something,
He can
it's a
prove you wrong.
lie. Because the eye in the sky don't lie. He can win however you want it. However you want it. So anybody that's saying he can't win this way, you can't say that. He's won every way the game is needed to be won. Every way the game is needed to be won. Like, bro, that game last week, man, like, when I looked at the film, bro, like, this dude on 3rd down in the second half, I don't know if he know, like, in the second half, it's 3rd down, go get it. Like, it's 3rd down, second half, perfect ball. Like, it's beautiful.
Clean
to
pockets
watch,
help you
man.
out, man. Clean pockets
Yeah.
will definitely help
Clean
out too.
pockets help you
Give
out,
it.
though. Yeah.
I'm sitting there looking at this stuff, man. We were a lot of people were critical about that passing game to start, but a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people really took the time to break down what they were doing defensively. Like they were forcing. Again, we talk about taking what the defense gives you.
Yeah.
What they were doing. That's what they were doing. They were playing 3 high bail.
Right.
They're playing a cover 3 high bail. That's telling me you're not taking shots down the field.
Right.
You're going to have to play underneath.
Right.
Which is, I mean, again, why we were checking it down to Zach or doing screens or, the halfback passes to Cash.
Well, it's also
right?
dealing with the offensive line, figuring things out on some
That is true.
things like that.
That is true.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I don't think people understand. I know you do, Davin, is just a guy who can take hits and, like you said, has that, serial killer gene where he doesn't care. That's rare. I mean,
That's
you saw
rare.
Trinidad, who I think is a heck of a quarterback. I think his story's awesome. I think he's tough. As soon as that jersey got touched, as soon as that window and that internal clock of his sped up, exactly.
Yeah.
And with Gunner, it's just so unappreciated.
Your mental clock as a quarterback, when you get touched for that first time, if you don't have that composure, your mental clock gets sped up
Just
exponentially.
Like right.
And for the rest of the game, unless you calm down, you are playing ahead of schedule.
Right.
And that right there is going to force mistakes.
And that's what we saw. That's what we saw. That's what we saw with Ole Miss.
Exactly. And that's the thing, Rob, just to go back to it, the Tennessee game, there's a throw to Colby Young. I think it was just like a slant. He knows he's going to take a hellacious shot. He takes it. Ball's perfectly delivered to Colby. First down, keep the 6 moving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's unreal. I kind of old school to go about it. Not all quarterbacks are true football players, but Gunnar Stockton's a true football player and a quarterback.
For sure.
And that's kind of the way I look at it.
For sure. It's like Baker.
Yeah.
Maybe you know Mayfield, right?
And the team just gravitates around a quarterback that's one of the guys. And I think that was kind of like, just to kind of spin it a little bit, I think that was kind of the problem with it last year. You had a guy at quarterback position that, had he is the quarterback. The quarterback's supposed to have the nicest girlfriend. He's supposed to have the nicest car. But at the end of the day, though, it's like, I feel like last year there was a disconnect between the head honcho, which is the quarterback organically. No matter how you want to do it, he's the head honcho, and the rest of the team. And I think these guys this year, man, they just rally around this guy because he just feel like, just a guy, bro. Like I was going off his social media yesterday. He don't even post unless it's an NIL post where he like forced to.
Okay. Question for you, Davin. From Gunner's standpoint, right? That toughness, right? We've seen countless times him getting just destroyed, right? Auburn was a perfect example there. 2 hellacious shots. What's it like? What kind of toll does it put on a defensive player to watch that happen to their quarterback and him to get up like nothing happened? What does that do to a defense?
Bro, it's crazy that you asked that because I just was thinking I actually thought you was going to ask that. And it reminded me of the Rose Bowl, bro. We're playing Baker Mayfield, bro. And I used to tell all my D tackles to, even if the quarterback is falling, you fall on him too. Like you get a chunk of him as he's going down. Julian Rochester was 6'6", 330. So at the time, DeAndre Walker was sacking him. And then right when he was going down, Julian Rochester and me, we kind of just dived on Baker just to give a little extra look. And I remember hearing the breath leave from his body when Julian Rochester fell on him. Like I just remember him, and then I thought when I heard that, we got him. Like, we got him. We finna break him. We finna kill the head of the snake. Then he jumped right back up and said, "That's all y'all got? BITCHs?" And right then I said, we can't break him. We can't break him. So it's very demoralizing. You know what I'm saying? Like to a defense, knowing that, kind of like you said, there's only a rare breed of quarterbacks that take those hits and their clock doesn't speed up. As a defensive end, it's my job to intimidate you. If I can intimidate you, especially from your blind side, I can disrupt this whole game. I can throw your whole timing off if I can disrupt you. If I can just bully you and get in your head, I can kill the head of the snake right now. That's the defensive end job. When you can't do that, that lets you know that guy that across from you is going to do everything to win. And it's only so much I can do when I don't have the ball in my hands and he does. So if I'm constantly killing this guy, with every play he got a ball in his hand, he get back up and he go get another first down, get another touchdown. That's killing me more because there's nothing more I can do.
I was sitting there thinking about it too. His legs and the option game for Georgia has really been to me the catalyst for this offense. And the reason why I say that is because right last year at this point in time, right, we're struggling to run the ball really at all. And we talked about it earlier where the ability to see the quarterback run, just pull it down and run it. It forces hesitation and it really opens up. Like, again, you've played this defensive game. What happens with like a quarter of a second pause of hesitation? What happens there? Massive lanes open up within a quarter of a second.
For sure.
That allows, that can allow me to run through. Okay.
Nah, for sure.
But when I look at this though, from the option perspective, and I look at the ability for him to run, and he's playing smart, right? Because he's doing the right thing. We talked about just playing within the game, right? Reading the right keys, keeping your eyes on it. I love the fact that we've implemented the speed option. Do you remember when we did the speed option on that?
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm sitting there salivating because I played option in high school. That's what we did. It wasn't pretty. It's not fun. It's an intelligence offense. That's what it is.
Right.
And it's really, your intelligence will force the defense to be wrong. Well, we're reading these keys. And I think there's sometimes, Scott, where we've seen situations where man, if he had the chance, pull that and run, right? For some of these read options. But you sit there and it's like, is he being told to just be an automatic give? Because the lanes, everybody's starting to crash. As soon as you start to think that, though, he pulls it on like a third down or a key third down.
Yeah, it breaks your heart.
Gets in there and just
it breaks your heart.
And so I'm sitting there and it's like, I get ahead of myself and I'm like, Man, if I was him, I'd have pulled that. Because if I was that fast,
You'll pull it 90% of the time.
I'd make myself look good for sure. I try.
Nah, that's the thing too. Is a lot of these teams. Well, Georgia had 34 third downs last week. That's crazy.
Killer.
So as a defensive player, I'm telling you personally, I'm excited for third down. Like I want the crowd loud. I want to get off the field. Like as a defensive player, I want to get off the field on third down. When that third down is completed and I got to stay on the field another 4, that 4-play drive now turned to an 8-play drive. Okay, I still got a little endurance. This next third down, I really want to get off the field. I really have to. They get that next third down. Now that 8-play drive is turned into a 12-play drive. Now the coach is looking for sub in the D-line. Because now the D-line did not expect to go 12 straight plays. If a D-line start going 12 straight plays, they are in trouble. What you're seeing Georgia do is when it gets to the fourth quarter, these guys, other defense, is on the field for more than 12 to 14 play drives. I don't care what type of training you do. I don't care what type of lifting you do. I don't care how many stars you have. From experience, no defensive lineman needs to be on the field for a 12-play drive. Most coaches pull their defensive lineman after 5 to 6 plays. Georgia's drag people to deep waters, keeping it close to the fourth quarter, and punish you. If you got a style, and I said this on the pregame, it's going to be style of fights. It's going to be Georgia's physicality versus Ole Miss spreading it out. If Ole Miss was to win that game and they wanted their quarterback to throw the ball 30-plus times, he had to sling it at a 74% clip. Because that means in the third and fourth quarter, he's still as accurate as he was in the first half. It's a lot easier just to hand the ball off in the fourth quarter than to tell my quarterback to drive me down the field off his arm. And that's why I say this team has the ability to where they close out games to go far if the defense can just catch up a little bit.
I want to talk some defense, but I want to ask you a question, and Scott too. I think we can all answer this. Through this point, right? This is the last bye week of the season. Up until this point, and Scott, I'll start with Scott, and then we'll go to Davin. Who on this offense has stood out to you the most, and why? And it could be all positions. Because I know we've talked a lot on offensive line. We talked about Gunner, but this offense is, in my opinion, a very, very efficient offense. And so I just wanted to pick y'all's brains to see who stood out to y'all the most.
Yeah, I can nerd out for a second. There's a stat called FEI. It's all about efficiency and non-garbage time and a bunch of nerd stuff to get to it, but it's a really respected model. You know how the media talks about Oregon's offense? Oh my goodness. Well, Georgia's more efficient on offense than Oregon.
For sure.
And they're more efficient than every team. I think Bama and them are really, really close. And if I'm going to go with player, I hate that he got hurt, but Colby Young, I mean, he kind of embodies what I love about Georgia receivers is that they're going to bully you. Like they're there to run routes and catch passes, but him, Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint, like you can tell there's a model player that I throw you the ball, I know you're going to catch it, but I also know that you're going to get yak yards and you're going to do it through contact.
Right.
Again, another flashy player. I mean, you got Zach. I mean, what he's doing, obviously different type build, but he's really physical despite his size. But one player I'm really, really happy for is Monroe Freeling, outside of Gunner, because Gunner to me would be, number one, but number two is Monroe Freeling and just his mentality. I mean, telling the coach, like, look, I'm traveling, I'm playing, I'm doing it on one leg against a team coming out of the bye that's tired of losing to you. It's home. They have all those celebrations, Cam retirement. Like they're thinking, look, this is a young, inconsistent Georgia team. We got an excellent game plan. We've had 2 weeks. We're able to pick and choose. Hey, they got issues here, here, and here. And they come out running, not an entirely new offense, but a lot of new looks.
Yeah.
And, you're down 10-0 and you're thinking, all right, even on that controversial call, whatever they want to call it, we've got a huge start on them. But like you said, man, the whole offense just feeds off Gunner and it doesn't matter. He's walking out of that half. Okay. 0-0, whatever it is, it is what it is. Yep. Especially that drive coming out of that play too. That was the other thing is For all the controversial calls they'll talk about, a lot of the Auburn, friends, and unfortunately some of my family, I talked to them about it, and they're like, "Look, those were legit, and it was really, really impressive to see just that switch turn on of okay, you're getting your defense is getting dragged down the field, just like you said, that slow death, that awful
Well,
slow
yeah,
death
it
ground and
is.
pound."
It is. And, being a defensive player that has been out there on those drives where we can't stop them. Like, when I do Dog Nation, I remember Brandon, he asked me, a lot of the fans are saying they want this offense to be more explosive. Well, in the same breath, I can say for a defensive player, when a team is running the ball and you can't stop them, that is something that just doesn't compare with a team just bombing you. And when a team is constantly getting first downs and closing you out like that, they're taking your soul. But to go to your question, man, I'm going with Zachariah Branch. I didn't expect him to be like this. When I watched the tape, since week one, he's been something that I haven't seen here probably since Isaiah McKenzie, of a guy that's supposed to be playing in the Pac-12, because guys like that don't go to SEC schools because they just know they won't get the ball enough. So the fact that we even have him is even a blessing anyways, because guys like that just don't go to schools in the SEC. His ability to constantly win on third down, I think, last year Georgia problem was third downs. This year we're better on third downs. Why? Because we have Zachariah Branch, who you can't go man on him. And like we talked about early, Georgia does a great job of winning the first two downs. They're always in third and manageables. If you're in 3rd and 5, the defense is going man. Well, good luck guarding Zachariah Branch. So I think he's been a great, reliable target for Gunner. And, man, he's the guy that's, really been impressed for me on the offensive end.
Yeah, I look at, and both of those names are 100% I'm on board with. I think there's a lot of names I could sit there and go off of. I'm going to name a couple just because I feel like they need shout-outs. One, Chauncey Bowens. I really love what Chauncey's brought to this running back room. I like, and really all the running backs bring in that different variety, right? Like Nate, right, persevering through the fumble issues, right?
For sure.
And then, McCray coming in and literally, I think this could have been the play of the season. That 4th and 1 against Ole Miss was
no question
was key.
No question.
Oh yeah.
I'm liking what we've got with Lawson and Delp right now. Elias Williams has looked good at times, right? So the tight end room, got to show love to Hartley and that crew. But for mine specifically, I'm going Juan Gaston because Ernest Green goes down to injury. Monroe Freeling's playing hurt. You're trying to find that rotation, right? Especially the Tennessee game is when it really sets in. You're trying to find that rotation. And it's who's gonna play, right? Now in that game, he did struggle a little bit, but I think it was kind of felt to me that he was going to be a staple in this offense. Him and Glover both. But for me, Juan Gaston coming out as a true freshman and really as early as game 1 and just showing the pure size, athleticism. I don't think people really understand just how athletic he is. But to watch him pull and I think he's like 350 plus, to see somebody that big go get bodies every play and be willing to do it. Like you talked about, it's demoralizing to a defense, but it's downright petrifying too. And it boosts it boosts your confidence on offense because his ability to go out there, willingness to just decimate people. It opens up so many lanes, whether it be a pure run game, right? I mean, we're able to run now. We're able to run between the tackles more efficiently, right? We're seeing a lot better lanes opening up because the ability to just straight move people. We've seen pulling outside on screens, right? Whether it be tunnel screens or just regular bubble screens or whatever, we're seeing that right side, him being able to pull out, get to the second level, get to the linebacker, decimate the linebacker, get 2 for 1 here and there, right? You pointed it out on the latest team meeting. hit the, I think it was gas and got the defensive end in the ribs.
Yeah.
Just bullying people. And then it sets the tone. But again, it's just a true freshman is doing that is just,
that's crazy.
I mean, it's huge because we've needed that.
And how much he's grown between each week. Like you said, you go to
playing
Tennessee.
Smarter. He's playing better and playing smarter.
Both the players you mentioned made critical plays. Like Juan would have some A+ plays, some pluses on the grade sheet, and then of course you have your minuses. But the thing that stuck out to me was how rawly physical it was, and he would take a loss on a rep and he would build away from it. He'd say, "Okay, they got me on this. I'm going to learn from it." And maybe he even gets beat the second time, but he's closer. And you're thinking, okay, look, this dude's not only huge in physical stature, he's rawly physical, he's rawly athletic, and he's also learning. Like that play was that Zachariah Branch to that screen, critical down. He takes just a little bit of a wrong, lane, wrong angle, and that's it. He's off to the races. And he's so freakishly fast. It's like, well, even if I banana my angle all the way back, and I'm trying to, I know I'm not as fast as this man, but I'm going to catch him, on geometry. No, he's too quick for you, and he's physical at his size, but Juan's a great one. I mean, just unreal the year he's had.
I think I also look at him too, and I've seen his growth as a player along that offensive line too. When I look at Tennessee and I look at these first couple games, the inability to pass off your protection, right? The ability to pass off on stunts and switches, right? Through these past few games, we've really gotten better. More so on that right side. You feel confident with Micah Morris. You feel confident with Monroe Freeling, even Drew Bobo. But that right side, with them both being true freshmen, when they're playing, you really had some hesitancies. And for me, watching, I know, Davin, you do the same thing. I think their ability to pass off and those switches and realizing the protections and having their eyes in the right place has really elevated this offense because it's not getting gunner hit as much. Auburn be damned. That was him going up against Keldrick Falk was a wake up call in my opinion. That's an arguable top 15 pick
for sure, no doubt. But he still had his own. He had his own.
No, I agree, 100%.
He had his own.
I 100% agree. But that's the part of playing in the SEC.
A guy like that though, a 6'8" tackle, he covers so much space as a defensive end. You rarely know you can't go through him. So, but he's also 6'8", so he can cover a large amount of space. So it's hard to also get around him. I thought one of the only few reps he lost was the one that everyone was complaining about, the holding penalty. But other than that, man, just him being 6'8", that width is just so hard, to get around. And he creates umbrella style pocket just off his size alone. Like he's I've been saying this since they said he was starting in camp. He's gonna be a 3 and done.
I easily agree. I think Glover the same way.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed. Top Dog says, "Love your breakdown of the games, Davin."
Tell him I say appreciate it, man. No doubt. Thank you.
We've talked a lot of offense, right? And there's been a lot of good, but I think it's time to kind of have to come to this realization. I want to get a real breakdown. You've played under Kirby Smart. You've played on this defense. I think we need answers, and I think it's going to be coming from your level and your expertise in this defense it's going to be telling for a lot of people that are watching this and listening to this. I've watched your breakdowns as well. And I know what you got to say about it. But there's been a lot more bad than there's been good.
For sure.
On this defense this year. I guess for me, is this defensive performance through 7 games, is this the nail in the coffin? Is this what this defense is? Or do you think that what kind of percentage of opportunity is there to grow from this and get better? Based off of what you've seen.
Young team. The first thing I noticed about this defense coming in this year was there's only two guys on the team who played meaningful snaps. That was Dalen Everett and Christian Miller. All these other guys this is their first year making a name for themselves. This is the first year of them getting their feet wet. So I knew, and guys that want to pre-check me could go look at Atlanta News First when I did the pregame show, Dog Nation. I said this. The defense is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get, right? Now we're 7 games in. We know what we got, right? Jalen Walker's not walking through the door. Mikhail's not walking through the door. Aziz not walking through the door. Chad, none of these guys walk through the door, right? So what I realized about this defense is, and this is where coaching comes into play, and this is where I think Georgia, Glenn Schumann is doing an amazing job with the defense. And why I say that is because you got 2 types of coaches. You got one type of coach is my way or the highway. We running 3-4. This is what we doing. No matter what players come through here, this is what we doing on making these calls. Then you got another style, a coach who's a teacher who can see what he's working with, now develop his calls off of that. What I think Glenn Schumann realizes, this team is going to be a splash defense. What I mean by splash defense defenses that get a lot of TFLs, defense that get a lot of sacks, like defenses that make a lot of plays in the backfield and the crowd go crazy. You're not going to see a lot of that. What you're going to see is teams have to work their way downfield, and then when they get in the red zone, hold them to 3. That's the style of defense we got. When you don't have an attacking style defense, you have to play bend but don't break. When you have an attacking style defense and players that can affect the game and make splash plays in TFLs, then a DC, a defensive coordinator, he's now calling his game to get you in 2nd and long, because I have Jalen and Mikhail. So if I can create 2 third downs, I want to do that. So an attacking defense, when you have crazy defensive ends that are going to the NFL, first rounders, you blitz heavy or you attack on first down to make it 2nd and long. Now my pass rushers are coming out there on 2nd and long. I'm forcing you to pass the ball. I've created 2 third downs. That's what you saw Georgia do a lot last year. When you don't have defensive ends that can create TFLs and put the offense behind the sticks and make it 2nd and 12, you cannot play that style of defense. You have to play bend but don't break. So one thing I'm noticing about this team is, one, let's take the pressure out of it, because when we get to 3rd down, we can't get off the field. We're losing 1st down. You have to earn the right to rush the passer. That's what every pass rusher knows. I earn the right to rush the passer. How do I earn the right? I stop the run. I want to make it 2nd and 11. I want to make it 2nd and 9. I want to make it 2nd and 12. That way, I know I can make it 3rd and plus. Now I'm going out there. This team cannot create 3rd and longs, right? So that's the first thing. When we do create 3rd and longs, we don't have guys that can go get us off the field. So now as a defensive coordinator, if I can't do like the Philadelphia Eagles do or the 49ers do, of say, you know what, I'm going to rush 4 and drop 7, good luck. We can't do that because we don't have Jalen and them walking in that door. We don't have guys that can consistently win on the edge with moves. I don't care about running into a sack here and there. I'm talking about consistently winning with moves. We don't have that. So now the defensive coordinator has to what? Get exotic on 3rd downs, cross dogs, mug fronts. You have to generate pressure instead of the defensive ends creating pressure. So we try to do that against Alabama game, and I broke it down in the team meeting, guys are running into each other. So now we can't even get exotic and line this guy up in the A gap, line this guy up in the B gap, and run a cross dog and have this guy come off the edge because guys are running into each other.
You get 2-3 people in the same gap.
In the same gap.
Pure chaos.
That's the signs of a young team. What I realized against Auburn and what I realized against last week is we're going to be bend but don't break. So I say all that to say I know what I'm getting out of this team. There isn't going to be a dynamic pass rush because if it hasn't happened in 7 games, it's not going to happen. It's going to be on Glenn Schumann and Kirby Smart to affect the game through their play calling and just the way they do it. That's the positive that I have with this team is being in that room and knowing how smart both of those guys are on the defensive side of the ball. knowing they can out scheme the other coach. But as far as the players, and this is not a knock on the players. This is just you are what the film says you are.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on some defenses where we've led the SEC in sacks or we led the UFL in sacks, and I've been in other teams where it's been different. That doesn't mean each style is better than what it is. It's on the DC to read the room and make the calls.
I think a lot of people. Go ahead, Scott. You feel like you had something to say?
No, I mean, completely agree. I mean, like you said, you really only have seniority through CJ Allen, Miller, and Everett in meaningful snaps. AJ is still really, really young. I mean, he had an exceptional freshman year, but and those are critical snaps. But like you're saying, you're still in that mode where you're really trying to fine tune everything, and
Yeah.
you're now the elite safety back there. So now you're an elite safety as a sophomore,
Yeah.
and like you said, I think the one positive thing I will say, Georgia can stop the run effectively enough. The issue is, like you said, the lack of pass rush. Teams are going to continue to attack you that way.
Right.
So, like you're saying, mitigate what you can on first. Try to get what slow them down on second. Get them in awkward third down positions and get exotic. I thought where Glenn Schumann really, really impressed me is in the second half of the Auburn game. A lot of different fronts, a lot of exotic moves, a lot
Right.
of things were being executed. And I think that's if people are looking, because I completely agree, 30-40%, that's all we need. If we can start to execute what's actually called, it's not the end of the world. But
It's
like
not
you
the end of the
said,
world. Right.
yeah.
Right.
Like you said, 11's not walking through, 44 is not
Is
walking through, you're not
no,
walking through, 88's
no,
not walking through.
no,
13,
no,
13,
no,
exactly.
you ain't
no,
got 99, you
no,
ain't got 88.
no. So when you
Correct.
don't have, and this is like I say, this is not taking anything away from those guys, but people get like first rounders. I don't give a damn what school you go to, right? First rounders don't grow on trees. When you lose a first round pass rusher, it's not a guarantee. I don't care how many stars he has. It's not a guarantee that he's going to develop into a first round pass rusher. Do you know how many teams are looking for pass rushers? Do you know there are
All of
pass
them.
rushers from D1 to D3? Right? So when the guys go first round in pass rushing, they were touched by God. So you just don't find those. So when those two guys leave, it's going to take time for those young 5 stars because you're only ranked off how fast you can run and how far you can jump and your tape against some people that shouldn't even be on the field with you. When you start getting to that,
projection.
yeah, exactly. When you start getting to that college football, you got to understand what move I need to do if he punched me up here. What move do I need to do if he does this? What move do I need to do if he's a 1-2 hand puncher? What move do I need? Exactly. All that. So you got to give him time. But just to test what Scott said, I said this by Glenn Schumann. The two things how you judge a good coordinator is what they call and when they call it. It's all about timing. Glenn Schumann has done a great job in the last 2 to 3 weeks of saving the best calls for the second half. Right? So if I go out and I show Georgia got off the field on back-to-back third downs in the fourth quarter, this is where I tip my hat off to a defensive coordinator. It's not about what you call, it's about timing. If Georgia runs those 2 blitzes that they ran on third downs at the end of the game, you run those in the first half, you got 15 minutes to go look on the iPad at halftime.
And then during the drives too, after the fact.
Exactly. Right? So now when we come out to halftime, you line up in that again, my linemen know how to pass it off. When we go in there, we got 15, 20 minutes to make adjustments. And you've shown us all your third downs for the first half. Then that fourth quarter, you come out on something we haven't seen and you get off the field. That's not on more so the players did execute the call. That's on a defensive coordinator or a coordinator in general, knowing that it's timing. So that's why I've been testing those slow starts also to a coach knowing that. I think Coach Smart and Coach Schumann know that they have to out-chess the offensive coordinator because I don't have the players to just out athlete you, and that's
It's
taking nothing
becoming a
away.
parity league now too. So their offensive players are getting more athletic and better.
Is
So you have to. It's a depth game now. You have to
right,
build depth. You
right.
can't just,
You
in my
do.
opinion, you can't just stack a defense or stack an offense like you saw in the early 2010s and stuff like we
Right,
saw at Alabama
right.
or where we got right now recently with 2021, 2022 defenses on Georgia, right? I don't think gone are those days, right? In my opinion. I do have a question for you, Davin. It comes from the chat and the brigade here. Top Dog says, I thought Christian Miller was supposed to be the man of the line. Where's he been? I have an answer to this, but I want to see what your thoughts and how would you respond to that question there.
He's doing his job. Christian Miller isn't a splash player. Christian Miller isn't Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter and Christian Miller are two different players. Jalen Carter and Devontae Wyatt are two different players. When Devontae Wyatt ran the 40, he ran 4.6. Christian Miller is a two-gapper, knock back, shred off, and make a tackle. Christian Miller is a knock back, take on the double team so C.J. Allen can run free. Right?
Gap responsibility.
He's a gap. If you play NCAA 26, he's a gap specialist. Gap specialists are not splash players. You don't expect a gap specialist to go out and have 11 TFLs in a year. Now, a player like Jalen Carter who can get vertical, a player like Devontae Wyatt who can get vertical. You don't. So he's doing his job. And when I look at the tape, he's the only defensive lineman consistently every game knocking his player back. Meaning, when I pause the tape and the black line that you see on TV, he's the only guy that the player he's going against is in the backfield. He's doing his job, but he doesn't have a sexy job. So if you're just watching the game casually, it's going to look like he had a bad game until you break it down and say he's knocking the shit out of his guy. My linebacker need to go make the tackle. Or if everybody was playing like him, they wouldn't even reach up to the linebackers. So Christian Miller has been the best defensive lineman on this team, and I think he's been doing his job, but he's not a splash play player. And that's what I mean by some defenses. You have splash defenses, and then you have defenses that just do their job.
Yeah. I looked at it this way too, and I think you took some of my answer, right? He's doing his job. But I think what we're seeing in the run game, there's not a question. I think people get this assumption that we're not generating sacks, right? Like we're not generating enough pressure. And I think our expectations have become a little bit unrealistic based off of what the team is right now. But when I look at it and I look at Christian Miller, one, I do think he's probably the most disruptive D-line we've got. I understand a little bit of the timing factor here too, but I'm telling you right now, I like Horton.
Yeah.
I think Horton's slowly getting his way to earn more reps, and especially with the fourth down stop. But even more so than that, I think when he's on the field, he's disruptive.
No,
he's just
is.
not playing as many snaps as you would see a guy like Christian Miller. Sure. Early we saw Elijah Griffin, and I'm excited about Griffin too.
Young,
correct.
Young.
Exactly.
Young. I mean,
now what about Xavier McLeod though? Like I see Chase White said, what would you classify McLeod?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I call it spade a spade. I'm just not gonna lie to you. Like the pass rush is not what we expect, but at some point the pass rush isn't even college level. Like I'm not even. I can see it. I'm not even like joking. Like nobody is affecting the quarterback. Like this is.
Chambliss was one. Ty Simpson. There was a play. They scored a touchdown on this. This was Alabama game. I did an unofficial count on how long the quarterback had. Right in my head, did my mental clock, right, if you will. I counted 6+ seconds, and with it, as soon as he let go of the ball, I think it was like right about 6.5 range. I shit you not. There was 4 yards of clean space from him in the pocket.
For sure.
That right there, to me, if I'm a quarterback, this defense does not scare me. I have a ton more confidence.
No.
Now, what we've also seen, and listen, we start off slow defensively. And that's why you're seeing Jackson Arnold get confident, right? That's why you see Trinidad Chambliss. That's why you see all these guys. Oh my God, they look like shit weeks in and weeks out, and then they look good against us. Well, you got to get pressure, right? That's on the defensive staff to look at their personnel and make changes, right? Shit's got to change.
No, it does.
I think you have to find the guys. You've talked about it. They're young, but you've got to go find the guys that are going to be consistently disruptive enough to create the pressure. Georgia was built on creating pressure, not generating it. It just was icing on the cake when you did.
When you generate it.
You were proactive every year, and I think that's where the casual fan is starting to realize is we've now gone from a proactive, we dictate the terms to you. You play the offense the way we want you to play the offense. And now it's much more reactive, and something that I wanted to give Glenn Schumann credit on, because I got all my fan emotions out of the way after I watched it a couple times.
Absolutely.
Great call by Cole coming off the edge. Helmet's looking not only at the outside shoulder of Trinidad, he's even more so opens up an easy rush lane. Trinidad gets there, scores a touchdown off of it.
Right.
So there are things that are attempting to be done, but it's a mixture of youth, and they're just not built for that yet. And they're going to have to manufacture, pressure, like you're saying, Devin.
It's going to take the individual player to say in the offseason, let me look at my game, let me go do my game. Because, I'm going to tell you straight up, like Aziz trained.
Yeah.
Mikhail,
you've seen the progression.
No, yeah. Mikhail trained. Like, I've been in sessions with Jermaine Johnson when he was at Georgia. Like, they went to Chuck Smith in Atlanta, me, Leonard Floyd, we're there. Like, Nolan Smith. Like, those guys took the time out of their time in the summer to come see Chuck Smith in Atlanta, and I'm physically looking at these guys train moves, right? So I don't care what the coach does. If these guys don't physically, because it's not on the coach. These guys aren't doing moves. So when I say it's not college level, by the time you get to college and you're at these schools, you should have a go-to move and a counter move. I don't see that. If I see you just running down the middle and standing straight up, waiting for the quarterback to escape so you can tear off and go run them down, that is telling me that you don't know what you're doing.
You don't have a plan. You don't have a pass plan.
There you go. And every defensive end that should be playing on this level, every time they put their hand down in the grass, should have a plan.
Well, Nolan Smith was a perfect example, Davin. If you watch him when he first came out, he tried to rely on speed.
Exactly.
His size forced him to create a plan. And once he got that plan figured out, he was fucking dominant.
He was dominant. That's what I don't see here. So, like, I'm not taking away all these, like, I went to the game, I'm sideline. These guys are 6'5", 250. They look the part. Now it's on the player to look in the mirror and go seek information. Because if I'm just doing ND before practice and my coach hold up an arm and I knock it down, and then I go do team run and go through the script, that's not enough. I know for a fact the Georgia defensive ends in the past had the social media people that you see train pass rushers, train NFL pass rushers. They were training with those guys in the offseason. So if Georgia wants to see an increase in pass rush, it's not going to come in a weekend span because the outside linebacker coach don't have enough time. Yeah. It's going to take those players going out on their own dime. They getting the NIL money.
Spend it for an investment later.
40 grand of that should go in for the summer of you training.
Davin, it's the same way. You talk about Chuck Smith, but the receivers will go train with Terrence Edwards at the bubble too.
Exactly. And I'm just speaking about what I know, what I saw. But I know as a college athlete, just doing what is told during the Indy, it's not going to do it. That's what I'm noticing when I'm watching the tape. Because one, I know all these trainers, so I don't see on their videos. And if a Georgia player is in their facility, I'm one of the first people they call. So I know you guys aren't going. So that's why I'm more harder. That's why I'm more harder on the defensive side of the ball, because I remember Nolan Smith reaching out to me. Where do I go this summer? I remember Jermaine Johnson before he transferred reaching out. I remember Aziz reaching out. So when I'm watching the game and I'm watching high school level pass rushing, but I'm not seeing you training nowhere, it's disappointing.
How do you expect to reach your long-term goals if you don't put in all the work that you need to do? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, but to another extent, though, if I give them the benefit of the doubt, I say they're very busy, right? But then I can't say that because I just named you those names who had the same schedule. So I just don't see when I take it so serious because the Wolfpack. I was a part of the original Wolfpack when I was a red shirt. Lorenzo Carter came in, number 1 DN in Georgia. Leonard Floyd said he was coming back another year. And Jordan Jenkins figured out he was coming back another year. And it was my red shirt freshman year. And we balled so hard at practice. Coach Pruitt figured out a way. He said, I got to figure out a way to get all y'all on the field at one time. And that's when we came out with the Wolfpack package. And Coach Pruitt would call out Wolfpack. And it would be all defense ends out there. And ever since then, not saying you got the Jarvises of the line, of course. The reason why I came to Georgia was because of Jarvis. But just telling this story, I feel like that moment right there when teams, because Coach Pruitt, I love Coach Smart, but Coach Pruitt was ahead of his time. The 2017 National Championship team that you guys saw, 90% of that was Coach Pruitt's doing. 10% of that was just Coach Smart just riding it on out. I'm telling you that right now. From the recruits to everything, Coach Pruitt brought Raquan in. Coach Pruitt brought Dominic Sanders in, a 2-star recruit from Tucker. So Coach Pruitt is the one that believed in me to start when other coaches told me to transfer. So when teams started to see how crazy Coach Pruitt was in his DNA of putting four defensive ends out on the field at one time, that carried down through the Georgia pool. And right now, I'm not seeing the same type of enthusiasm. I'm not seeing that same type of effect on the game as edge rushers should have in a Georgia uniform. Before us, who we looked up to, and after us, I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of comments talking about it, like this is who we are. So, for instance, Top Dog says, "So we are who we are at this point."
You are who you are.
We talk about
this.
Who
the film says you are. You are who the film says you are.
Correct.
I don't care what no media say. You are who the film says you are. Period. Yep.
It should never be. It should never lie to you. That's why you just have to. You have to take this, and it's, again, we don't do this to just sit here and get off on, belittling players, right? It's strictly business. This ain't personal at all.
No, it's strictly business.
We try to be critical. Yeah, we try to be critical, right? And I think it's okay to have some criticisms, right? You're never gonna be perfect, so you always gonna have to expect it. You're a Georgia football player. I think, Davin, you get where I'm going. You gonna hear what people got to say. It's just what it is,
for sure.
But again, when we sit there, Davin brought up a good point. Like, we are young, right? Which to me, I'm kind of interested to see this too, because we bring in these guys, like, for instance, Isaiah Gibson. Haven't seen much of him. Know he's young, and you gotta. To me, I've been extremely bullish on Quintavious, number 33. Gabe Harris I felt like Gabe Harris put on a little bit too much weight for my liking. That's just me.
What number was he last year? Was he still 0 last year?
I don't think he was 0 last year. Gabe Harris, I don't think
he was. I can look it up real quick.
Oh God, what number was he?
I've seen him in person, man. He got all the tools, man. He got all the tools, man. He got all the tools.
I love their ability to set the edge in the run play, because that goes overlooked for now. The reason,
yeah, for sure.
When I look at this ability to set the edge, right? For a couple years, we struggled with setting the edge. We got beat around the edge, and we complained about that. Now you've got two guys that are truly dominant with establishing the edge, pushing the shit back into your help, which is what you want, or make them bubble, right? My son just won a flag football championship. On defense, we try to tell these guys, like, listen, If you on the outside, you have no help around you. You need to push it back in or make them bubble out. That's okay. Chase White said he was 29, Gabe Harris. You either force them to bubble, right? You force them to bubble, or you force the play back inside to your help, right? And I get it. It's not tackle football, it's flag football. But the concept applies, right? So far, I loved their ability, especially in the run game, right? The struggles on the defense have mainly been offense. Pass game struggles, which I have a question for you too, Dab. Against Ole Miss, we did a lot of 4 DBs playing super soft zone coverage. Fourth quarter, we started making that change. We started playing more man coverage. We got a lot stickier, right? Shit was harder to get passes completed on. What is, from your idea of the defense, what would cause us to keep doing those soft zone coverages for so long?
Sometimes, bro, like I always say in the team mean, it's not rocket science. Sometimes football is football. You only call man when you got man corners. If my corners getting their ass beat, I'm not calling man. There is. I thought
DeMelo Jones. To me, like DeMelo Jones played his ass off.
You talking about a guy that came in late? Yeah, because
15.
I know. Yeah, so
15.
You got everybody saying, we played
15.
man. We played man at the end of the game and it did better. No, we subbed. The guy that could not guard his guy and gave up over 50 yards in penalties got pulled. Dalen Everett was Dalen Everett, a first-round corner who got toasted on one play, and then the second half he was lights out like he's always been. That's a first-round corner. So Dalen Everett was Dalen Everett. That's what he gonna do. Football is simple. I played for Greg Williams for 3 years in the UFL, who is known for cover 0 and cover 1. You do not call man unless you have man corners. It is simple as that. If you do not have a DeAndre Baker that can say, this is my guy and I'm taking him out and he will not catch the ball, a defensive coordinator will call cover 1 every freaking play if he got 3 cornerbacks that will say he's not catching the ball. When you do not have
last year lockdown we had was Kamari too. We don't have a Kamari last year either.
Okay, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Lou, the first half we're calling man and we're getting bombed. So that is telling you right for 5 games, teams avoided Dalen Everett and attack Ellis Robinson, the first year starter. That's what they're supposed to do. On the defensive line, when we watch tape, we circle the fish. Who's the fish? Who's the fish this week? The guards to fish? Well, when I played for the Texans, J.J. Watt, line up on the guard. Okay, week 3, who's the fish? The right tackle. J.J. Watt, line up at right end. So teams are attacking the player that cannot play man. So we start playing man.
Supposed to do.
We start playing man better when we got him out the game. Then nothing changed but the player. Look, Georgia's gonna keep it simple. Like it's very simple. It's very simple. You run simulated pressures on first and second down, and you run mug front and man on third down. It's not that hard. We're gonna man you and get exotic. When you try to get exotic on third down and you start mugging fronts and you start running cross dog, and now Jalen Walker is lined up in the A gap and Mikhail's lined up in the A gap, and my inside backers line up on the edge. It's man coverage. It's man coverage. Georgia's not trying to trick you. Georgia is the best when they say, I have a 6'1", 190-pound corner over there with 86-inch arms. It's a reason why Coach Smart will not walk into your school if you play on the back end and you're not 6'1" with a certain arm length.
It's measurable game. It's a measurable game.
Because we're running bump and run. When I was there, and Shaq Wiggins there started as a freshman for Mark Richt. Coach Pruitt came to Georgia, who also came from Bama. He just came quicker than Saban. He told Shaq Wiggins, who is a 5'9" corner, you better transfer because I don't play short corners. So it's very simple. We're bringing in corners that can play man. If you can't play man or you can't defend a 50-50 ball without getting a 15-yard penalty, get the hell off the field. because I got another 6'1", 6'2" DB waiting to come in after you. And that's what you saw. The game plan didn't change. The guy that's been getting blown his doors off for 5 games, the guy that can't turn in phase without getting a penalty got replaced.
Getting your head around is key in this play man coverage too.
That's it.
I know they're also taught to look. Sometimes you see them playing through the football, right? They play through the football, and I think Kirby may be teaching that. But at some point, you've got to trust your coverage abilities and look around for the ball, because if not, you're gonna get called for penalties all the time.
And when that ball is in the air,
especially if you don't play the football right, that's what's gonna happen,
bro.
Yep.
Yeah. And at the point of where it was, it's done. Alabama, we pressed you. You didn't put hands on them. You gave an inside breaking route in the red zone. You didn't even force the fade. That's common sense football. I let you off the hook because you was a 5-star corner. That was game 4. Tennessee game, you got bombs over Baghdad. I let you off the hook.
Razzle just cooked everybody that game.
Because it's week 2, I left you off the hook. By week 7, I don't care how many stars you got. Next man up. That's all you saw. There is no, if I can play man all game, I'll watch Greg Williams call man coverage 30 plays in a row.
That's so fucking tough to deal with.
If you got, but guess what? If you got
Trust.
badasses, like when I was at Georgia, I played with like DeAndre Baker, and he said, like, Debo Samuel said he don't know my name, or he gonna know my name tomorrow. And he lined up on them every freaking play, pick 6 the first play, and Debo Samuel didn't catch a ball. And then after the game, he told the press conference, I bet he know my name now. There's no defensive coordinator that's calling that. I'm calling cover 1. DeAndre Baker got Debo Samuel. It's not rocket science. Ellis Robinson has been losing his matchups. It's not rocket science. You're in a phone booth with one phone. Who gonna make the call? It's not rocket science. It's the same way at defensive end. That tackle's right there. He gonna kick to that spot. I'm gonna rush to that spot. Who gonna win?
When you're 1-on-1. Sometimes, guys, we overanalyze, right? Paralysis by analysis.
Sometimes we overanalyze, and like I've always heard in a football building, coaches complicate the game.
Mm-hmm.
The game is easy. The game is easy. Like the game is easy.
This is a perfect example of what you just said. It made me think so quick to this. Dan Lanning as DC. Defense sitting there, right? Playing super complex defenses. Muschamp comes in, immediately you see the defense change. And I think partially because he had them simplified. You sit there, guys playing free. Guys playing free, not thinking as much. And it just made all the world of difference.
But you got nothing but first rounders. Like you didn't like.
Well,
that
too, yeah.
Like,
you gotta be fair with that too, I suppose.
Like as a defensive coordinator, why would I tell Jalen Carter to run a game where he go pick for the tackle? That's stupid. As a defensive coordinator, I'm just going to tell Jalen Carter to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I tell Aziz when Aziz got the hardest cross chop in the game? Why would I tell Aziz to line up in the A gap? No, go over there and cross chop.
Make that light fail for that tackle.
So when you got guys like that, it make it easy. I played with a coach who won a Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he said, we won a Super Bowl running 3-4 saw all game. Back when the Roethlisberger won the championship. When I was playing with the Bengals, my D-line coach was a defensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said we ran a Super Bowl running 3-4 saw every play. Both ends rushing, everybody in man. That's what the Pittsburgh Steelers ran with Ben Roethlisberger when they won their championship with Joey Porter and James Harrison. When you got players like that, I'm not going to out-trick you. It's not rocket science. It's not. It's not. It's really not rocket science.
I agree. I see Top Dog said, go ahead, Scott.
I apologize for interrupting, but fans, we do the same thing. Like, I used to love getting scouting reports and certain analytics, but like you said, at some point, you got to start winning your one-on-ones. And I was like you. Like, I started saying, hey, look, I know this guy's got tremendous talent. Yeah, eat the PI against Tennessee. If you trip yourself up, just grab the man, eat the penalty, whatever. not gonna lie, I think I'm kind of on your train here with Ole Miss. It's like, look, man, at some point the doors got to open. Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta go. Yeah,
and I look, maybe there's a light switch, but like you said, that's what I was going to tell Rob. I think the major change was seeing 15 tested Jones and him coming up big, and that
coming
shuts
up
that window.
huge.
Oh yeah,
And just not creating a pass interference. So
correct.
one, you're
Yeah,
losing the
that's a
matchup,
big part right there.
right? But two, now you're hurting the team. A
Hmm.
coach could deal. Coach Smart used to always say this, and I've heard this a lot. I can't deal with an undisciplined penalty, and I can't deal with a offsides. I can't deal with an unnecessary roughness, but I can deal with a effort penalty, pass
Hmm.
interference, face mask. I'm trying to make a tackle. I'm trying to make a play 50-50 ball. But I only deal with that sometimes. Not all the time. I'm giving you a break because you're competing. So you're going to get a pass interference every here and there. You're competing.
Yeah.
But I can only deal with that sometimes. When it starts to get repetitive, and now you've given up over 50 yards in penalties, you got to get out of the game because now you're hurting the team. And now my job is on the line because now your play is hurting the team.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at it too, man. It's like when you go back and look at it too, not just the DBs, right? If I'm looking at Ole Miss's recency here, when you start putting in players, right? Like Chris Cole had an opportunity to get like 3 sacks and just didn't hit home. You've got to start getting better and shoring that up.
Right.
But the effort, it's not an effort issue. It's just young, inexperienced pass rusher. He's being put in that pass rush situation where last year he's in coverage.
He's in coverage,
So,
right.
Yeah. So for me, I'm looking at that as like just growing pains, right? There's a level of leniency that I would look at as growing pains, right? Especially with
How
a young
many
defense.
games would you give that though?
No,
Because
fair.
the way we look at it,
By now you're not like a freshman. Like the freshmen are not really freshmen anymore at this point.
Hell no. You've been there since spring.
Or summer,
reps,
however you look at it. Yeah.
Even if you didn't come from high school, if you're a sophomore, you'd have had spring, you'd have had camp, you'd have had 6 games. In the locker room, we don't want to hear, I'm still trying to get my feet wet 7 games in. Ain't nobody trying to hear that in the locker room. So we've been running these same plays since spring. Then we ran the same plays in camp. Now, when it gets to the season, we just picking the play we ran from the spring and camp of what we're going to run this week.
Based off schematic. Yeah.
So now we going into the game with only 20 calls. Why are you still fucking up? Nobody wants to hear that's why I say it got to the point where you saw coach said 15, get in. Week 2 is cute. Week 3 is cute. Pass interference is cute. It's learning. It's growing pains. You'll get them next time. Week 4, you'll get them next time. When you keep coming to the sideline, those will get them next time start to turn into getting ignored.
There will be no next time.
That means even the players are done hitting you on the head saying you'll get them next time. And you start walking that slow walk to the bench.
That walk to the bench.
And now the players, it's no more, you good job, you'll get them next time. No, bro, we 7 weeks in.
You should have got that time.
You keep getting pass interference because that's what you do. You need to go work on not doing that. By week 7, I'm not getting the sacks. I need to work on getting them. By week 7, I'm not getting open as a wide receiver. That's why I love Gunner. You constantly see improvement. Week 7, what he did, I got my teammates involved. I got my tight ends involved. You constantly seeing a guy improve week after week. First 7 weeks, we're the tight ends. They blocking their ass off, but we can't feed them the ball. Week 7, one tight end get 3 touchdowns. After they had a press conference about getting involved. That's a guy constantly improving week in and week out.
He
So
also
if
did it
he,
in the game.
yeah,
Yeah, missed Cash
Real
Jones
time
on it.
taking
You could
coaching
tell he
real
looked.
time.
Yeah, exactly. You could tell he looked at the tablet. He starts going through his progressions. You immediately see the football player kick in. He just goes to Nate and
You go,
you
immediately,
see it.
boom,
You
Scott.
see
quick
it.
points.
You're
Yeah,
talking about that. So for clarification, for anybody curious, what I was talking about too, what we're all talking about, this coaching in real time stems from the Ole Miss game, where the 2-point conversion, you have Cash Jones out in the flats. He's staring down tight ends because we were starting to hit the tight ends more, right? Getting more involved with the tight ends. Well, we failed the 2-point conversion. Later in the game, Nate Frazier's out in the flats, somewhat of the same look, checks it down because the defense gives him the same look, walks in for a touchdown.
Walks in for
That
a
right there
touchdown.
is coaching on the fly in real time.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what everybody everybody should strive to do.
Yeah. And we're not saying that on the DB end. So that's why I think you see 15 is probably going to start now. 15 is probably going to be the starter.
Surprisingly though, I was skeptical and had some questions about Jonel Aguero in coverage, but I think he's been fairly solid in coverage too. Number 8.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I mean, as a fan's perspective, Davin, we only get limited visibility. You know how Kirby is with that. It's like Fort Knox. But really, G-Day is your only chance to get anything. So you sit there and he gets tested and he gives up a touchdown. All you've got is like, oh, shit, here we go. Oh, here we go. Next thing you know, you sit there, come out, he's covering, right? And I really looked at when Kirby made the switch to move him from the star to the safety. When he's playing his natural position, he looked dangerous at that safety position.
Really good.
For sure. For sure. I mean, I get it. The star position, and you know this, Davin, star position is the most important position on the defense. There's so much involvement, right? There's so much involvement on every play. So you got to have a super smart guy that can cover, that's fast, that can support in the run. Like you got to
do everything on any given play.
Dude, Coach Pruitt got so freaky. He used to put Leonard Floyd right there.
That's
Leonard
so
Floyd
fucking
was
crazy.
Start.
God, that's crazy.
That's why I don't think people give him the credit enough. He put, in order to utilize Jordan Jenkins, Leonard Floyd, Lorenzo Carter at one time, he will put Leonard Floyd at star to the field, Jordan Jenkins at defensive end, and your tight 5, and Lorenzo Carter is your jack, the rusher to the boundary.
Fucking nuts.
I don't think people don't understand that Coach Pruitt, we still haven't seen that implemented yet in today's game of having a edge guy play star.
I thought there could have been a situation where you could have saw a guy like that before.
And I think
maybe this year or last.
You saw Jalen Walker slowly play that role.
Mm-hmm.
But you had to put him on the field. He was too good not to be on the field, so you had to find a way to get him on the field.
But I'm telling you where that started.
Yeah.
I'm telling you where that started. It was everybody said, you are crazy. Why is Leonard Floyd playing basically my nickel DB? That way, Auburn was killing us on – Auburn brought the RPO game back where Gus Malzahn, you throw it out, you got the tight end lead blocking, you got the tight end lead blocking for the right receiver, boom, boom. Jeremy Pruitt, I'll never forget. He said they want to put a tight end out there at slot to create that look. We're going to put Leonard Floyd out there. And then we watch Leonard Floyd guard cover slots, and that was his position. But I just don't think, and I always use platforms to always give him credit. Everyone forgets about, without Jeremy Pruitt and Coach Shear and that whole Alabama coaches that came over before Smart, without those guys, there is no national championship. They were
on both sides of the ball too. Yeah,
they were a crucial bridge until when Coach Smart came in, that roster was put together by Jeremy Pruitt and Mark Richt.
Yeah, because you had Chubb and Michelle come back that year, same time. That's like I said, I'm trying to think both sides.
Not even come back. Coming back is for Smart. They were already there. Raquan Smith was a freshman.
Flip from UCLA, by the way.
Flip from UCLA. Yeah. Jeremy Pruitt flipped him.
Yep.
Mark Richt back, Lorenzo Carter, number 1 DN. You know, like when you start looking at that, like that list, man, like they don't get the credit.
Davin, that same class. Keep in mind, at one point you had Devontae Smith committed, but as soon as Rick got fired, it flipped him. He flipped to Bama.
It flipped.
That's a big what if, ain't it?
That's a big what if. Yeah. You're right.
Derrick Henry was committed to Georgia at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
Laramie Tonsil. Yeah. We took our visit together.
Good old Hugh Freeze right there. That's that.
Yeah, threw that bag at him. You know, so
before you could do it officially.
But man, like I say, man, I always want to give them guys credit every chance I get, man, because I think, you know, at where Georgia is right now, man, I think, you know, those guys was a crucial part of.
They were the building blocks for where we are now.
They definitely were the building blocks, no doubt, no doubt.
Because I mean, we've talked about Kirby elevating this program for where Coach Richt was, and Coach Richt had it at a perennial 9-10 win team.
Right.
You know, you had pretty consistently, right? But I think you probably understand where I'm coming from this. To get to 9 to 10 wins, to elevate to that next 11 and 12, it's exponentially harder than going from a 4 and a 5 win to a 7 and 8 to a 9.
For sure.
Each win at that level becomes exponentially harder. So, you know, you take Kirby's prowess, and it's really his youth at the time, right? It's just recruiting ability, and you know, I think the fact that he's a Georgia alum, I think he genuinely put all of it into it. And I mean, really, I think I'm not saying he's the OG of this, but what I'm seeing in today's college football world, a lot of these coaches are alums and they're coaching at their alma maters.
They coach at their schools, right?
Yeah, Brent Key at Georgia, Clark Lee at Vandy.
Yeah, it means more.
These guys are going back to their alma maters, and to me, that
tremendous success,
that level of care, right? That level of care about where you're at and where you're from has really elevated these programs. Hell, Georgia Tech is 7th in the country. Vanderbilt is a top 10 team. Like,
and that's after Georgia Tech gets coached every year with the portal.
Singleton was there.
Singleton would be on Georgia Tech right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's unreal what Brent Key's done and Clark's done, and it is like I think it's a great trend because like Davin's saying, like there's just a level of care you can't false manufacture that. Like Kirby being an all SEC safety, obviously he is who he is. He knows what it's like to play, obviously in a much older SEC, but he understands. But there's no way to fake that love and history that you've had aligned with it. And I do think passion. It's big. And
really,
and huge kudos to Pruitt, by the way. I just wanted to jump back to this real quick. Pruitt, to me, is one of the best defensive minds because he was so creative. I think sometimes coaches can shy away from their own creativity out of fear of, hey, that sounds that's too crazy of an idea, instead of going ahead and giving it a shot. I mean, but like you said, it ultimately does come to players. I think the convincing moment I had was when Kirby says, Jimmy's and Joe's, if you have Dale Earnhardt driving a Honda and a Daytona, he's not going to win.
Yeah.
Praise Hill, praise Dale, baby.
That's true.
No, it's just ultimately, though, I look back and we kind of just summarize this up. I didn't realize how long we've been going, but I think it's too good a conversation not to.
For sure.
There's been a lot of criticisms, right? Offensively to start, I think people had some questions, right? Defense has really shown the questions there. Them first half teams, right? It's literally a, JV team compared to a national title team. It's second half. It's wild. But as we move into, we're into the bye right now, and you're prepping for Florida. I look ahead, and based off of this conversation, there's some things that we just are going to be what we are. But that also tells me, as you start to get guys in, and especially later in these games, your depth is still going to be a problem for people. And then on offense, just keep playing your brand of football. If you play your brand of football, you could run your way not only to 10 wins, 11 wins. You're going to make the playoffs. Now, the question is how far? That's to be determined, right? It's all the seeding and shit like that. That's who knows what's going to look like, right? You just play who's in front of you. But there's no chance for me to sit here and say that you're not been battle tested, right? This defense is, like you said, Davin, perfectly bend, don't break. It's just what we are. So be it. Play the best guys there, right? If it means making personnel changes, make them. Right? This game is not, and it's not for your, it's not for your tenderhearted emotions. It's just not. This game is a tough game for a reason. So, whether we see different personnel changes, hey, embrace them. There's a reason for it. Kirby and that staff, as much as we love or hate them, they've earned your trust.
They know
you are
doing.
6.
Yeah,
you're 6-1. Yeah, you're 6-1 this season. You've come off of a win in Neyland. You've won at Auburn. That's 2 9-game stretches right there. 9 years of victories. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Right? Does it look pretty? Not always. But guess what? Davin, you've probably done this before. Survive in advance.
That's all it is. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. Yeah. And like I say, I'd rather these guys go through this now of learning how to win in pressure situations.
Especially while they're young.
Especially, and then especially while it's young in the season. You don't want your season to be all, easy peasy, and then you get in the playoffs, and that's when you had your first real adversity. These guys know how to win on the road, tough environments, coming back. So just so happen they get in the playoffs and they're down, they won't blink. So everything they're going through now, man, is a testament to a championship team, and I'm glad they already lost one. So and you saw after that loss, they tightened up. You didn't see Nate Frazier fumble anymore. O-line playing better. Gunner playing better. That means, after those losses, coach, that got their attention. And, what you're seeing right now is a team that's surviving advance, but also they're gaining maturity every week. So
that perseverance is going to come into that perseverance that you get through in these tough games, right? The battle tested, as we call it. To me, when you get into these high pressure situations, right? We talk about if we make it to Atlanta, right? Or if you make it to the playoffs, every game at that point is do or die. And if you've lived in those, right? I'm going to go off the Batman motto here, right? You merely adopted it. I was born in it, molded by it.
Yeah.
Right. If you're doing this shit week in and week out,
you're doing it in
know
away
what
games
to expect.
too. And you brought up a good point. These are teams that you've dominated for a whole decade. Do not believe for a moment that you are not one of the first names they circle on the calendar. We're beating so and so.
You have to. Yep.
Yeah, and to do that in away games, and one thing I just really, really want to harp on is it doesn't take much for things to go right. It doesn't take much for things to go wrong. So example, really fast start against Ole Miss. That game was so fast offensively, it was legitimately the team that punts first loses. And you saw Georgia offense open up and respond. Again, I get it. Ole Miss, and Ole Miss's defense, I get it. But that's the thing that you can see those changes. And I think, Davin, you hit on a great point. Basically, we're a multi-tool offense. Whatever problem you have, we have a solution to fix it.
We have a solution, right?
No, for sure. Guys, I think we're going to wrap it here. We've had a lot of good conversation. I think real conversation that needs to be heard, right? We always pride ourselves on being organic. We have to shoot it the right way. There's too many times where we sit here, get pumped full of sunshine, and it just doesn't do anybody any good. And so having these conversations, listen, this is a good team. There's a reason why you're 6-1. There's a reason why you're a top 5 team in the country. How you got there is the key. And having these conversations, and sometimes they can be tough. It's hard conversation to talk about. Not a lot of people want to hear this. But if you hear it, as the team will, you will grow as well. right? So that's the reason why we have these kind of discourse and conversations. With that being said, though, Davin, thank you for coming on. Thank you for spending your time providing that insight, right, from a former player's perspective. Listen, if you're not doing this, I highly suggest it. But go give Davin and give his team meeting a watch. All right. And I popped it in the bottom here, right? There's the YouTube right there. Make sure to go give him a follow. Okay. I'm telling you, it's really good film breakdown from his perspective. What you heard here is what you're getting there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to be learned, and it's real conversation the whole time. So make sure, do yourself a favor and follow Davin on YouTube, team meeting there. Tell us more about that for people that are curious about that, Davin.
Yeah, man. I mean, basically it's me trying to bring the average fan inside a team meeting. If you've never been inside one, it's the first meeting right after a game. Everyone's in there, and the coach is just kind of breaking it down of why this play didn't work. Not really trying to go, over your head, just trying to give you the quick basis on why this play didn't work. Because, the way I like to break it down is not about the OC or the DC. That does come into play. But in reality, it all boils down to not making football rocket science. Every given play, it's always one or two people or things on why that play wasn't successful. But, it's on my Instagram, Team 7 meeting. Also, Robert put my YouTube channel, 17.media. And, yeah, man, I'll love you guys check it out for me.
Yeah, now do us a favor, right, from the DGD podcast. Do us a favor and go check it out. Seriously, you're going to learn a lot. I guarantee it.
And listen, I can attest. I've been in a few team meetings. Only did it for 2 years at college. I'm telling you, it is about as organic as what you're going to get.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You do such a good job, phenomenal job keeping it, like you said, just complex enough to keep football simple.
Right, no doubt. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys having me on this, great, platform. I'm just getting into this space, so I'm glad you guys, open up your house to me, and I appreciate it, man.
Listen, we said it on social media, man. The invitation's always open. You just let us know.
I appreciate it.
I want to also give a shout out. I also wanted to give a shout out to our viewers and dropping the comments and questions.
No
doubt. Top Dog on Twitter, Sacred Grove, Chase. I saw several of these names, so if I didn't call you, my bad. But now we appreciate everybody for coming in, listening, sticking around, and listen. We've been going for a while, right? We've been going for a while. But again, we hope that this information and this content is something that you can take from and learn from. Right. I think that's the key, regardless of the level of knowledge you have of this game. Right.
Right.
But with that being said, all good things must come to an end. And we will catch y'all next time on the next episode of the DGD podcast. As always, we'll catch y'all next time. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.